you don't live in town, so you can email me whenever you have a question, and I try to get back to you as soon as I can. This is Elizabeth Torres. She's an instruction librarian. And to my right is Harvey Castellano. When you take a research methods class, research methods application and appraisal with Diane Monsivice, we are the people who are embedded in the class with you. Okay? Thank you. So if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask. We know you're a little bit behind and we're your last one before lunch, so we'll try to be quick because I'm sure you're hungry. All right, so we gave you some packets with just some information in them. Things we're going to discuss today, how to evaluate research. There is a, did you need one? The lady needs one. We also talked a little bit about ref works. You'll be hearing about that as you go along when you're writing your papers as a way to hold your citations, your articles, and create bibliographies for you. With nursing, I believe you all use the APA style format.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I also can help you with that to direct you to different sites. You're going to use databases, and RefWorks can help you with that as well. Then on the other side, because we are librarians, we did provide you with bookmark. In talks, for those of you, I know you're going to be in town this week. If you don't live in town, please come over to the library if you can. With the bookmark, it talks about the location of materials, where the books are located, what the different departments are at, some of our hours. We have information about important library links for you. Research links, something called LibGuides, which I'll explain what those are, the databases, and we have a sheet in here about your nursing databases, the ones that you'll be using as you're doing your research. And then finally, I have a little PowerPoint thing in the packet that talks about evidence-based practices and evidence-based medicine. I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with that, but as you go through your programs, you will become experts. And when in doubt, ask a librarian or your professors. They love to help. So, any questions so far? No? Okay. And can you all hear me? I guess that's my question for you. Okay. So, this up here is our library website. When you are at the UTEP homepage, you usually go to my login when you're getting to your Blackboard account. And over here, if you go to library, it brings it up again for you. You may have seen this before if you were a student. I don't know if you did your undergraduate work here. If not, we can show you some stuff. So over here on the left is the catalog. That's where you do the book searching. Just if you have a book title that you're interested in looking for, you want to see if we have it. Because you're going to be online students, we are focusing a lot of our purchases on the electronic materials, electronic books. And you can view those through the catalog as well. Okay? But the thing I did want to focus mostly on for you today were the databases, the ones that you will be using. So when you go over to the right, and it says pick a database for online resources, you can select your subject, which is of course nursing. And we have 41 databases related to nursing. The ones that you're going to use the most, I would say, are going to be CINAHL, which is Cumulative Index to Nursing and Allied Health Literature, Cochrane, PubMed, and Dynamed. And do any of those titles sound familiar to you? Access Medicine. Access Medicine, too. Excellent. And of course, we do have the Access Medicine right up here.
Will you show me that?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
when you're at the library homepage, if you go to nursing and hit search, we have all the books for nursing. There's about 41. And of course, the Access Medicine.
It's one of the first because it's A. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
We do put them in ABC order.
It's really helpful.
And you can do your searches. We do the text box, the textbooks, the advanced search. So these are going to be really good for your book material. They also have different videos and tutorials that can help you as well. It's a great resource, and you'll be using it a lot. So we kind of wanted to show you a little bit, some PubMed, some CINAHL. We did want to show you Cochrane and Dynamed as well. Did you have any questions so far? Okay.
Just a comment on access medicine.
Yeah.
When you look up something under access medicine, and there's that little how to cite button, and you click that, it never provides a date. But all these textbooks have dates, and you'll lose points under APA if you don't find a date. So what you do is in the reference where it tells you what book, say for example, Harris's Online or Tolly's Emergency, you click that and it will take you to a page, and one of the links on that page shows you the publication information which has the date.
Yes. Yes.
So you can fix that.
Excellent. Did you all hear him?
Can you walk through that? Would you mind going up and walking through that? Thank you. And even though this is required for pathophysiology, access medicine is excellent for all courses. You know, they have some administration books in there, they have some community books in there, they have some health policy books. You can look up by topic like genetics or by a textbook.
So I searched,
Go ahead.
I searched on NIDDM, fairly common one. I'm gonna look at it in Tentales. All right, right up here, it'll say how to cite this chapter, and when you click that, it gives you the citation. However, to be proper APA, after the chapter author's name, you need to insert in parentheses the date the book was published. And ND will not cut it. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. So what you do is right here where it says Tentales Emergency Medicine, next to the picture of the book, when you click that, it takes you to this page, and right here where it says copyright, there you go, copyright 2011, and it is the most recent version that's on the website. So there's your dates that you can put it into your citation. Right here? If you,
clicked on the book.
yeah, let me go back. So right here where the picture of the book is, next to it, it says Tentales. It's the name of the book. If you click on the name of that book, it will take you to a page, and it says preface, copyright, contributors, and the copyright takes you to the page where you've got the publication information. It's all right? That might save you in patho.
Access medicine, there's, right now, we only subscribe to have 5 simultaneous users. So like if more than 5 people are using it, you'll get a saying that you met your quota. And I know Dr. Robinson is mad about this, but it's very expensive. So if we see a lot of turnaways, then that'll be an argument we'll have to increase the number of seats in there. But, so you will, if you do see that, don't think that there's something wrong with your end of it.
I didn't get that the whole summer session path.
Yeah, nor did I.
No, that's fine, because a lot of people have been using it, but if more and more people start using it, you might get that.
And if you get that, we actually want you to use it, then
Yes.
that gives the universe us rationale to buy more seats. Because the concern with using it in other classes is that there will not be enough licenses. So please get in there and play with it so that we get turnaways, so that we can ask for more licenses. But it is expensive. Thank you.
Do you know when you get turnaways?
It'll say that the
No,
number.
you know.
Oh yeah, we get the reports. We get the
Okay.
reports. Yeah.
So, but this is great for if you want to just, the bare bones pathology, treatments,
Oh,
and
yeah,
diagnostics.
It's a great database. But it's also McGraw-Hill. They're not going to give anything away for free. So.
Are there any other questions or comments this time?
But actually, the website.
Okay. All right, so one of the other databases that I wanted to show you today was PubMed. Bless you. Have you guys been using PubMed before? Now, a lot of times I find people are actually using PubMed from the government, so I just wanted to point out when you use it through UTAP, when you're doing a search, let me scroll down for you. And again, they're in ABC order. Like, if I was going to do a search on total knee replacement, which as you know, the terminology is total knee arthroplasty. And I was interested, maybe I say I was interested in this first one. Over here it will say like UTEP resources. So I can click on that and see if I have access to that particular journal in which the article was published. A lot of stuff can be published for free in PubMed, so you don't have to worry. But we sort of encourage you to go through the UTEP's version of PubMed with our access so that if there is a link to a journal, it will take you to it, or what resources we have. Okay? The other thing you might want to look at is the MESH database, which are the medical subject headings. Because you are nurses and you're going for your advanced degree, you're more familiar with the terminology. And so we want you to use that terminology because the database will recognize it. So when I was at the PubMed over here, on the far right, it says more resources, and then I click on MESH. Like we were doing total knee arthroplasty instead of total knee replacement. The terminology that's specific to your field. It will help you when you're doing your searching, because sometimes what happens is when you start doing a search, you'll get like 2 things or 10,000 things. And we want to help you to get a little bit more specific. And just so you're not taking too much time, because you're very busy right now. Some of your classes are going to be 8 weeks, and we just want you to use the resources and be successful when you do. Any questions about what the MESH is? The other thing that I wanted to show you was under PubMed tools, something called clinical queries. Those of you familiar with evidence-based practice understand systematic reviews. And as you go through some of your research classes, you're going to start sending us emails and posting things on the message board saying, I need a systematic review on this topic. How can I find one? And so this is a good way to start. Okay. All right.
So, like, I'm here in that website, and you cannot click on systematic reviews, so do you actually have to enter in a topic, and it will automatically bring up the systematic reviews? Is that
Yes,
how that works?
yes, we have some, say like hand washing. We'll do something as simple as that. And I'm going to do a search. There are 173 systematic reviews on hand washing, so I can see them all.
Okay.
Your results with PubMed do go with the most recent first. And so if you click on it, and again, it describes it for you. It gives you the citation information, what journal it was published in, the year, title, who wrote it, an abstract. PubMed has been doing this with most of their research lately. It's very cleaner to see. You have your abstract, the introduction, objective, methods, etc. And then if you go up here, where it says Elsevier full text, it will send you directly to that systematic review. And you can click on the PDF, or and to get the whole thing, you can email the article to yourself. Yes?
Okay, and you probably said this, but to clarify, if you're doing this from home and not the university, you need to be connected to the VPN in order to do this.
I'll go over that right now.
He's gonna.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
The
We'll
other
talk, yes.
one thing that I was having problems with this PubMed is that, yes, you would go to like where you could get the free article, and then it would take you to like this site where you're at, but then it would want you to pay for them. So that's the problem that I was having, was like a lot of these articles I could not access because they were paid for.
Okay, now,
Only.
PubMed is a free internet site from the government, right? You're all familiar with that. Okay, in order for it to recognize that you guys are UTEP students, you'll have to use what's called a VPN, or when you're using our library site, it'll give you what's called a proxy code, and then you'll enter your 800 number and then your PIN number, and then it'll recognize you as UTEP students. When you're just searching on the internet, it doesn't know if you're affiliated with any university, and so some of the stuff on PubMed is free, but a lot of it isn't. It's just saying, okay, yeah, Elsevier. Elsevier is not going to give you anything for free. So we subscribe to the Elsevier database, Science Direct. That's why here it recognizes that we're UTEP students, that we're at UTEP, because it's recognizing the IP address.
Okay.
I'll go into that right now after she's done. But that's going to be very important, especially for those of you who are out, out and about, not here at this university. You're going to need to know, that VPN and the 800 number. Okay, so good.
And of course, the other thing is, if you are being asked to pay for something, we don't expect you to pay for these articles. You know, if that runs into a problem, email us. If you are just searching from the web and you're sending it to the site, that's what we're showing you how to use PubMed through the UTEP page. So when you go to Elsevier, you won't have to pay $19.95 for 2 hours or $49.95 and have it all the time. We don't want you to pay because you can't afford it, and well, we just don't think it's something that you should do. And so that was very quickly. That was sort of like PubMed and through the UTEP homepage. And I understand if you're using PubMed.gov and why you're constantly being asked to pay, why you don't want to use it. But this is why we believe it's a good database for you to use, and that's why we want you to go through the UTEP homepage or the virtual private network, which Harvey's going to talk about. Any other questions about PubMed or comments that you have? Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for pointing out the difference, because I didn't
Okay.
know there was 2 ways to access it.
All right. So the next database I wanted to show you, again, I'm just in the nursing, I'm going to go to nursing. I wanted to show you CINAHL, which is, of course, Cumulative Index to Nursing and Allied Health Literature. And this is through the vendor called EBSCO. So if you've used EBSCO in the past, this interface will look familiar to you. The thing I wanted to point out to you when you're doing a search is this thing here up at the top called the CINAHL headings. When I was looking at PubMed, I was looking at the MASH, the medical subject headings. Those are those articles, those systematic reviews, the meta-analyses that you're doing your research on. And what somebody does, generally a librarian, they read the article and they pull out descriptive terms for it, and they describe the article. CINAHL uses their version of it, CINAHL headings. So it can be something, the terminology that you use every day. Try it. It can be a little bit different. Sometimes I find when I'm doing searches as simple as Hispanics versus Latinos, it really depends on what the database wants. And so that's why sometimes when you're doing a research and you don't find anything, or you find like 2 articles, and you know there has to be something more, or your professor says, yes, there's research on this. This is why we encourage you to use the MESH and PubMed and the CINAHL headings, because these are the terms that they're going to use to describe the articles. We kind of want to limit any frustration you might have when you're doing your research. And of course, my card is in that folder, and Harvey and I are embedded in some of your classes. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us when you run into problems. So I was at, I went to CINAHL. I'm going to click on CINAHL headings, and then I'm going to click over here in the middle where it says term contains. So I want to really make sure that it's using the term that I want to use. And I'm going to do a very simple search. I'm just going to do cancer. And I'm going to hit browse. And it tells me right away, use neoplasms. Something you probably already know, but just they're saying we want you to use it. So when I click on that, then it takes me to this. If I actually click on neoplasms, it takes me to this, which is a term tree, which is basically looking at the terminology and just where does it fall? What are other things that can be related to this term? Maybe I was just doing a really broad thing, but maybe you're interested in something a little bit more specific. If I click on the box next to neoplasms, again, more things. Am I interested in blood supply, classification, complications, diagnosis? Any of these things I can also do a search. But I just want to keep it very simple right now, so I'm going to do a search database. And as you can see, it has it, instead of just like neoplasms, it has an MH, which is major heading, which means that this is a major topic in that paper as well. Any questions so far? The other thing I wanted to show you, just even before you get started with CINAHL, if you scroll down through the page, you can find some information, such as the published date from. I know a lot of times you need something in the last 3 years, the last 5 years. You can tell them I want it from January 2006 to present. What language? You just speak English? Are you, if you just want the English articles? I was looking for a professor the other day, and I kept finding Turkish articles. It's like, oh shoot, I'm not up on my Turkish language, so I have to just stick with English. The clinical queries, part of the evidence-based practice, is it a therapy, diagnosis, prognosis? You can even do an evidence-based practice right here. Publication type, again, do you want a systematic review? Do you want an abstract? Are you interested in a pamphlet maybe? And I think this down here is really important, the age groups. I find there's some similarities across the databases, but not always. So if you're interested in something with adolescents, well, they're going to tell you adolescents, they have it as 13 to 18-year-olds. They have aged as 65 or older. They have middle age as 45 to 64. So think about the age group that you're interested in and select that as well. The other thing, because I'm just doing a very broad search, okay, you're doing a search, how do you get the articles? If I just click on this first one, again, this is the title of the article. You can cite it, as your colleague was pointing out, and it will show the citation format such as APA. And it's right here. And of course, it's fairly correct. And it does have the DOI, which is the digital object identifier. When it's provided for you in an article in APA format, you have to use it.
I'm sorry, I missed where you hit the cite button.
Oh,
Where did
I'm
you
sorry.
do that?
It's right over here on the
Okay,
far
got it.
right,
Thank
between
you.
save and export. So if I click on cite, it provides it for me in different formats, including APA. Like I said, it's pretty good. Yeah, I would say that the volume of the article, or the volume should be italicized as well, but it's got the DOI, so it's really good.
Yeah, don't rely completely on that. You still need your APA manual. That kind of puts you in the ballpark, but sometimes it'll like capitalize everything. Sometimes it'll it just doesn't always give it right, but at least you're kind of in the ballpark. But yeah, don't rely completely on that. You still need to look at your APA manual to make sure that it's cited correctly. Okay.
And again, we were talking about major subjects, minor subjects. But if I was interested in this article, I can go over here where it says check for this item at the UTEP library. And then it takes me to a web bridge page. And that was when we were the buttons next to UTEP resources and PubMed. This is something similar. I can view this full text in the journals by author that we have. If we have it full text in another database, the web bridge is a bridge from one database to the other if we don't have it in that one. When I'm over here, if I'm in the art, where you check for this item at the UTEP library. Sometimes, I know if you're crunched for time, we don't always recommend this, but we certainly understand. If you click on linked full text only, you can be missing stuff, but we understand crunched for time, online students, just the linked full text, if it has it, it will come up, the PDF, or it will give us a link to another database. And that was on the left as well. I refined my results. I did linked full text, and we were talking about uni stuff in the last 5 years. So I can move this bar to, say, 2005, 2006. It will update it again. And it's bringing it further and further down. So this first one, again, get the title, who wrote it, where they're affiliated, the major subjects, all of that. I can check for this item at the UTEP library or PDF full text. And it's downloading, and then the article will appear. Yes, accept. Sometimes they'll ask you when you're in the databases that you're just going to use the article for research. Yes, you're not going to make 10,000 copies and distribute them all over the place. Basically what they're asking. Since you guys do use APA, I have a suggestion. Sometimes it doesn't appear on this one, but sometimes over there where it says PDF full text, another option will be HTML full text. If you are given a PDF or the HTML option, select PDF. Because when you are in APA and you're finding something to quote or to paraphrase, well, to quote, because there's always just that one person who says it just so perfectly you just can't re-say it any other way. HTML and APA, you have to go and count paragraph by paragraph to quote it. With PDF, as you saw, it's just the article scan. So you can say, I found it on page 583 and I'm all set. So that's a little trick that I picked up with APA. That was very quick, that was sent off. Do you have any other questions this time? Any comments? Okay. I wanted to show you Cochrane because systematic reviews, and with evidence-based practices, you get closer to that. So again, I'm just gonna go to my nursing. Search there in ABC order, so Access Medicine's right there at the top, and then Cochrane Library. This is an evidence-based medicine database. Their focus is on Cochrane's focus is on systematic reviews. And so say, like we did one earlier on hand washing. On the far left, Cochrane reviews, those are the systematic reviews. As you go along and you start needing a systematic review on your topic, try Cochrane. There might not be one, but if there is, Cochrane is a good place to look. They also have other reviews, sometimes clinical trials, economic evaluations, that sort of thing. But the Cochrane reviews will generally come up first. And this first one, you can view the summary, the standard or the full. The summary is great because if you don't know this yet, sometimes these systematic reviews can be 40 pages or 100 pages. So if you find the summary, it details it very quickly for you. What is a systematic review really about? I mean, the title says it's interventions to improve hand hygiene, compliance, and patient care. But you can view the summary. They talk about their methodologies. What terms do they use? What do they find? It's very small, compact summary of the giant systematic review. Any questions about how I got there? I need to do it again.
The Cochrane reviews are indexed in PubMed and CINAHL. So if you're doing a search in CINAHL PubMed, it'll say Cochrane review based on this. So the thing is, you have to subscribe to Cochrane database in order to access their systematic reviews. Okay, so if you're searching CINAHL or PubMed, you may encounter the systematic review from Cochrane.
Finally, I wanted to show you Dynamed. Dynamed's a point of care one. And so this is really good because it really like summarizes the information for you in bullet points. So again, I would just do did total knee arthroplasty. It gives me some different ones. I'm just gonna go with the first one. And over here, it has related summaries, clinical efficacy, perioperative decision, operative technique. It breaks it all down for you. They have an overview. And everything you see in blue is a link to more information. What I really like about it, because it is that point of care, it's bullet point summary. You know, you can just read it really quickly and be like, okay, this is what I need. This will help me. So if there is some sort of article attached to it, it will link out as well. They have their levels of evidence as well, which is related to the evidence-based practice. And they have their ways of looking at these articles and saying what the evidence is for them. Any questions? Final thing we wanted to show you was Google Scholar, because we know you'll use the databases, but you'll use Google as well. We just know it because of the questions we get, and we understand. We can read into how you're doing your searching. So the thing to keep in mind is scholar.google.com. There's this thing over here called Scholar Preferences. I'm on campus, and so you pick how you want the language. I want it in English. Then down here, the library links. We're on campus, so this will always pop up. University of Texas at El Paso. When you're not on campus, when you're at home, we suggest you do type it in. And this was over here under Scholar Preferences. And the reason being, let me go back. Do my search. You see this pale blue stuff over here? If I have access to that article because I'm affiliated with UTEP, it will come up. Some things are available online, like that, but if it, where it has that UTEP access, then you should be able to get to the article. Whereas this is too much. But in a way, I mean, you get 127,000 results, and that can be extremely overwhelming. It's not perfect in any way. You do have some access to UTEP resources as well. And so sometimes we end up going into, I use Google Scholar when I'm embedded in a course and I've gotten that email from somebody that says, I can't find this article. And I realized they sent me the title of the article and that was it. No journal, no year, no author. And this is students, this is professors, don't worry. And so I use this a lot. Sometimes when I just want to search multiple databases myself with UTEP access. When I want to search like Medline or, which again we have in PubMed. Yes?
And I will admit, I'll use Google Scholar when I'm looking to make sure you have the most recent resources for whatever paper, because it's the fastest way for me to check to see, number one, if you plagiarized anything, or number two, if you are actually using credible and most recent sources. So I will, under search, I will limit it, so I don't get 127,000. But it is a quick and easy tool for specific things. When you're doing your papers, I do not recommend this necessarily because of that 127,000 that you get back.
I mean, you could do like this since 2006, brought down to 18,000. But it's not our first choice, but we understand if you're gonna use it. And so we wanna help you to use it better than just going out there and trying to Google something. Okay?
There are times when you want to use a meta search engine like Google, especially if your topic is very narrow, you're looking for a very specific topic. That's a good way to find out if there's anything written on the topic. Now, if you get 127,000 results, obviously there's a lot of so you don't want very vague general terms like total knee arthroplasty, because that you'll find in PubMed and Medline. And then you certainly have to limit it down even further, right? But if you're doing something on like maybe, I don't know, a rare condition, total arthroplasty in Mexican American populations
On the border.
then that's really going to be a narrow topic, right? So that would be good to see if there's a lot, if anything has been written on it. So remember your meta search engines, it's like, if the term is very vague or very common, you're going to get millions of results. If it's something very specific, try it that way and see if it works for you, just to see if anything's out there on that topic.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, as Harvey said. See if there's anything written on the topic, because some of the things we've come across in the past is your topics are very good. Recently, there's been a lot of talk, some questions that we've been getting in the research class on like Facebook and social networking. The downside is Twitter is only 5 years old, so there isn't really research per se, or just you have a very, something's going on in your hospital and you want to know if a procedure that you're doing, something as simple as placing the IV, wrapping it around paper towel and laying next to the patient when you move them, what are you doing? Some of those things we've gotten questions on in the past, and so we're trying Google Scholar just to see if there's anything written on it, and there might not be. So that's why we would say to use that. The other thing we were going to show you is just very quickly, we were going to go through the evidence-based LibGuide that we have, and put this together for you, where we talk about the types of resources. The systematic review, of course, this is the evidence pyramid. At the top you have the systematic reviews and the meta-analyses, the randomized control, double-blind studies. The further down you go, they're not as good, but that doesn't mean they're bad either. You'll learn about them more. But we wanted to show you this again. This is in the handout, the packet that we gave you, to talk about the types of resources that you are going to be looking at when you start. So it's the evidence-based practice, types of evidence, systematic reviews, meta-analyses, cohort studies, case control, etc. In your packet is a white PowerPoint. I think it's on the right-hand side. So that was all I had. Are we going to talk to you a little bit more? So if you have questions, please let us know. Comments? Yes. Oh.
Okay, are you all comfortable with that idea of the evidence-based practice? You're going to be learning a lot more about that. Because there is, the problem is a lot of you, we all search Google, right? Everybody does. You find a lot of information sometimes on a topic that looks really great, but it's just somebody writing stuff about it. It hasn't reached the level of that systematic review or meta-analysis or even randomized control trials. So it's very important to be able to distinguish when you're doing a search whether this is a really good topic and whether there's actually evidence-based topic. There's something, there's actually people doing studies on that to back up the information. Does that make sense, guys? All right, because that's why it's more important to use the databases to do your searches. Because Google will give you a lot of results. After you put anything in there, you're going to find results on something. But it's also misleading in the fact that you think, hey, there's a lot of people writing about this, but there's no researchers doing any kind of research on that. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind when you're doing research. And then of course you have your levels right here. The systematic reviews, those are, does everybody know what a systematic review is? Are we all comfortable with that idea? Those are reviews of the literature. And then sometimes very specific reviews of the literature. So they're not every topic you're going to find. Not every topic you have is going to have a systematic review. Okay, because it takes a long time to pull all that information, to get all that research done, to actually look at everything and then eliminate the fields and then put together a systematic review. So when you're doing it in Cochrane, when you look at Cochrane, sometimes you'll find something that says it's a review. Sometimes you'll see something that says protocol. That means they're going to do a review on it. It hasn't been written yet. So you see something that says protocol, they haven't done the review yet. So they're actually going to be working on that, or they're actually working on doing the review. But that doesn't mean it's going to come out anytime soon. It could be a year or two down the line, depending on the people. And then, of course, research is actually grant-driven. I always tell people that. It's not necessarily problem-driven. So there may be a really great problem about diabetes on the border, but unless there's somebody getting grant money for that, there's no research being done on that. Does that make sense, guys? So look at your hospitals when you're doing something. See, this is a great problem. Why isn't anybody writing about it? And probably because nobody's getting any kind of grants or funding for that. So keep that in mind when you're doing searches. You look at certain universities where they actually have a lot of grants, and you see that there's like maybe one or two researchers that are doing a research on a particular topic. And so like if it was let's say diabetes on the Mexican border or something like that, you'll find maybe one or two researchers doing the same research on that, and then when they run out of funding, that's it. Nobody else is doing research on that. So you'll find articles that come in like maybe 2 or 3 year spans, and then no more. Nobody's writing about it anymore. So keep that in mind. It's going to be very frustrating when you're doing searching for evidence-based practice that the money might have dried up, or the researcher might have moved on to something else. So when you find somebody who's doing something on your topic, look at the university affiliation, and then look at the author, because chances are they're the ones who are writing all that stuff on that topic. Make sense? Okay. Now, since most of you are not even from El Paso, it's really important to show you how to access the databases from off campus. Okay, this is going to be very important. Right now, we're on campus, so anything we do, any search we do, it's going to recognize the IP address, it's going to know we're here, it's going to know we're affiliated with UTEP, so it's going to let us into all these different things. But once you're like in San Antonio or Houston, it's not going to know that you're actually a UTEP student. It's going to think you're just somebody randomly searching the internet. So if you go over here to our library homepage and you see where it says online resources, if you click on that link on top, you're going to see something here called the Campus VPN. All right, the Campus VPN is just a virtual private network. If you click on that, this is put together by our folks at Vista, Windows XP, Windows 7, or you have the Mac, you click on that link, and what it's going to do, it's going to set up this thing called the VPN on your computer. It'll set it up automatically, or it'll tell you how to do it. I think the Windows 7 doesn't set it up automatically. It gives you the instructions on how to do it. And it's really simple. You just set it up on your computer.